So Mabel and I were scrolling on TikTok the other day and we came across what looked like a TV show, but like vertical, like on TikTok, like a sitcom about roommates, and it was called Roomies. And so we watched a few episodes and it was actually really funny and well done.
Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm 25 years old and this is my first day in New York City. I am completely anonymous. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
Get the out of my way.
Oh my God.
And so we clicked on the page and it turned out it was posted by Bilt, which everyone knows is like a credit card loyalty program. I think their flagship feature is that you can use this credit card to pay for your rent and earn points on your rent.
No, it's actually really funny. It feels kind of like New Girl, and it's apparently for Zillennials. It takes place in New York. And what's interesting is that Bilt hasn't even been mentioned yet. So like we're kind of waiting for that advertising to actually come up, because if we didn't look that up, we wouldn't even know that they were behind the series.
Yeah, like you and I are now watching, so like hawk-eyed, we did notice Bilt on a window that was being passed, but that was it. So we're thinking because they're roomies and because its trademark features the rent thing, that's going to come in at some point. It just hasn't been introduced yet. Like she's going to pay her rent with Bilt.
Yeah, that has to happen. And I mean, it does seem like people like it. Like it's gotten hundreds of thousands of views.
Well, some episodes even millions.
And it's interesting, this kind of like advertising strategy has become more common recently. So Bratz, like the dolls, I guess wrapped season 2 of their weekly TikTok series called Always Bratz. The beauty brand Tower 28 actually hired someone from the sex lives of college girls to make.
I love that show.
Well, they're making a sketch comedy series about blush called The Blush Lives of Sensitive Girls.
Oh.
So we should check that out. And then we saw that the US Open actually launched their own dating show called Game Set Matchmaker to kind of advertise like tennis and stuff. So we are seeing big brands do more like long form creative advertising to, I guess, kind of capture people's attention in this like oversaturated advertising market.
And if you're not familiar with Bilt, it has been around only for 4 years. It came out in 2021, and it's this kind of newer, definitely like taps into like a trendy vibe. And the points guy does rank it as one of the most valuable awards points if you're a member of it. And they have a lot of partners that you can redeem these points on, and like travel, rent. And they actually announced soon you'll be able to pay your mortgage with it and earn points on mortgage payments, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. So Bilt, everyone was talking about it, seemed to be doing really well. Its latest valuation was at $10.75 billion, and it was accepted at more than like 4.5 million homes across the country. But I guess a couple months ago, Wells Fargo, which was like the bank that was basically backing Bilt, ended its partnership with Bilt, and reporting says that Wells Fargo was losing as much as $10 million a month to the card. But I guess also that same day, Bilt put out a press release saying that they were mutually splitting ways, so nobody really knows kind of what happened with that.
And that makes everyone kind of wonder, is their model sustainable at all, no matter who they're partnered with? They have now announced a partnership with the fintech firm Cardless. So Cardless now will be issuing all their credit cards and taking on the ones from Wells Fargo starting in February.
But I guess either way, Bilt really knows how to market itself to young people. That's kind of what it's known for, young people who are finally getting their first apartments. And Roomies is just an example of how they're marketing kind of really intelligently to the right demographic.
So we are excited to speak to the chief marketing officer at Bilt, Zoe Oz, about how they came up with the idea to do their own TV show. So Zoe, how did the idea of making Roomies, which is of course the original show by Bilt, come to be? How did you guys decide to basically make a sitcom?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back. I think in the early days of creating Bilt, we always knew from the beginning we wanted to be a brand that was known for investing in their brand, and one that really understood their customers. I mean, ultimately, we're building a product for ourselves. We use it all the time. We were renters in New York, and we wanted something back for those dollars. And so I think when it came to the kind of brand we wanted to develop, we knew we wanted to be different. We knew we wanted to connect with our users in a really unique way. And so content has always been a big part of that and a big way that we reach those customers. So I think for years since we launched the product, we've thought about other ways to reach these customers and what are ways that are going to engage them and entertain them. And so we've actually developed a few show concepts along the way. Roomies was one of the first ones that we really decided to take a big swing on and do something that really wasn't just about our product. Obviously, sitcoms is the number one category. They're always the best performing shows. How do we seek to make TV for a scrolling era in a really different time period when people aren't often watching 30-minute episodes anymore?
Can you tell us what the creative process, like from start to finish, hiring writers, I assume, cast.
All of this was created fully in-house. So from the production to the scripting to concepting to finding actors, all of it was done fully in-house by our content team, and they're absolute rock stars. So in the early days, it was really, what does an initial script look like? How do we write a pilot for this? And what's funny is we actually launched a version of this show really, really early days that was not serialized. It was like little snippets of roommates living in a house together. And that content didn't perform. I think it was really important that our team adapted quickly. But we had a version of it that was just these roommates, they played on TikTok trends, they had some jokes between them, but it very much was not highly produced sitcom worthy content. And that's just not what people wanted. I think they're really used to seeing that on TikTok. It didn't feel really unique. It didn't feel different. And so we went back to the drawing board and we said, okay, we should think differently about how this should be approached. And at that point, it became obvious, like maybe you start from the beginning. Maybe in order to fall in love with these characters, you actually have to see how they met. You have to see their backstories. You have to see how they all fit together, as opposed to just jumping in and seeing roommates kind of out of the blue. We did the whole casting situation, which there were a lot of people we looked through and they were all very talented, but I think the chemistry between these characters just made a lot of sense, as I'm sure the original casters of Friends felt when they saw everyone together on set. They just felt immediately, this makes total sense.
We kept expecting to see Bilt advertising. We were surprised to not see any, except, we saw like a Bilt building in one of the episodes. How do you advertise the product in the brand in that kind of way that it feels so subtle?
Honestly, we really trust our viewers. Like they will, if a brand's behind something, they'll figure it out. And so we just put @Bilt in the bio and people figured it out. And I think that was part of the magic, was if they find it out on their own, it's really subtle, it's not in their face, and we're really meeting customers and viewers where they are, as opposed to trying to throw product at them, I think they're a lot more forgiving and they're a lot more okay saying, okay, this is by a brand and I'm going to love it because of that and not in spite of it. Whereas I think a lot of viewers these days, when they're watching pure marketing, they don't want to love it because they don't want to love something that a brand is pushing at them. In the longer term, you'll start to see the product weaved in, but not in ways you'd expect. I think the idea for this show is actually, it's almost representing a Bilt universe. Like this is a world where roomies live, where of course you pay your rent with Bilt, and of course you go to Bilt neighborhood restaurants, and of course you go to a fitness class that Bilt offers, and of course you go to an experience and a comedy show through Bilt.
Like the Bilt cinematic universe. It's like so far.
Exactly.
And in the beginning, when you were conceptualizing this new show, did you face any pushback when you were pitching or when your team was pitching this?
There's a lot of trust across the entire team that in order for us to create a brand that really resonates and one that has lasting power and one that people want to connect with and have an emotional connection to, you have to do things differently and you have to think outside the box.
How do you measure the success rate of a project like this where it is so like vague and you want to, build company culture? Like, is it how many people end up getting the Bilt card through watching it? Is it just views? How do you measure the success?
So again, these early days, I think it's really mostly about views. It's engagement. It's what are the comments looking like? Are there people in the comments who know what Bilt is and are saying, oh, this is so funny? For the immediate term, that will be the ultimate goal, is can we continue to garner attention and eyeballs? And does it become a conversation starter?
No, that makes sense. Like watching Roomies just feel so refreshing in such an oversaturated like advertising market. Do you think that we're in this era where we will start seeing companies in general start to get more creative and invest more in their advertising strategies, just because everyone is so sick of just having products like shoved down their throat all the time on social media?
I think those brands, all brands, including us, are going to have to. You have to be a really dynamic, iterative, creative marketing team. Look, I think that there's a million different ways to market your product. And frankly, I don't think social media is the best one for all companies. I think that there's definitely some companies out there who are going to be more effective on ads, or more effective with a different distribution channel, who on it more effective through influencer marketing. There's all these different ways that you can, and that we do market Bilt, and they all have different success metrics. They all have different goals. Social is a changing landscape. It's constantly changing. It's constantly a black hole where you never know what's going to perform versus not. And I think the only thing that you can trust about these algorithms is they'll tell you really quickly if you've hit something good or not.
Speaking of branding, it seems like Bilt over the past few years has tried to kind of expand its reputation, or maybe shift its reputation from just being like a credit card to a whole loyalty program. We know about the points. We know mortgages are coming too. How should we think of Bilt's expansion? Like, what all is Bilt?
We're not a credit card product. We are a rewards product. We have a card if that's an option you go down, but card members only represent 15% of our entire member base. Like the vast majority of our members do not have a card. Obviously, we started as a rent payment platform. and offering points on those payments. Then you think about our entire neighborhood rewards ecosystem. We help you love where you live effectively. That's the simplest way to think of it. And that's your home and the area immediately surrounding your home. And then of course we have this massive ecosystem of travel partners. So there's so much to offer.